cuz.
Hey, it's Taco here. Come along with me in my Iris Infinity and my BGD Magic Motor Glider.
We're gonna fly!
I love that angle with the shadow in front of me. I'm using my Insta 360 X3 on my helmet this time. It gives a great view. Listen to this double harmonic though, right here. Okay, that's not normal. It's worked itself out. It quit. So at this point, I'm turning around. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. What's going on? The purpose of today's flight is a post-engine maintenance test. I had replaced the exhaust bushing, a set of exhaust springs holding the exhaust in place, but still letting it kind of wiggle around. I replaced the airbox, which is sort of a not only a mechanism to make the unit quieter as it sucks air in, but also an air filter, so the airbox is both. And while I was doing that, I had to check the tension on my belt. The Moster 185 that's on my paramotor uses a belt drive to slow down the engine RPMs to something that's a little bit better for the propeller, a little bit more efficient. Well, during maintenance, I determined my belt was loose, and that happens, they stretch over time. So what I did was I tightened it up, and to do that, you loose a couple of bolts. There's a big bolt that holds the pulley on, and then there's a set screw that holds the pulley in place. A certain distance away from the smaller pulley. And I think what happened was I loosened the bolts, I moved the pulley by turning it's called an eccentric nut, basically a nut with a hole that's off center. So I turned the eccentric nut just a little bit to get the larger pulley to tighten up the belt. And I think I might have forgotten to tighten the set screw all the way down. And what would have happened was when I was doing my run up, the big pulley could have slipped a little bit and let the belt get loose. So I'm thinking that's what happened. I'll find out this weekend because I will take the unit out, give the give the belt a test. It's a lot easier to replace a belt in advance than to have one break on you in flight. The belts are a lot like the serpentine belt in your car. So that's a good view of my risers. But as you see, I'm up close to 1,800 feet or so. And it's starting to get cold, so I'll reach in here in a minute and pull out my gloves. But I've gained enough altitude where I'm happy, so if something were to happen, let's say the engine does quit, if something were to happen, I can glide right back down to that airfield I took off from. I'm over trees right now, but there you go. You see the risers shaking around a good bit. The air was a little bumpier than I thought it was going to be. It wasn't terrible, but it was a little bit bumpier than I expected. See Trevor Steele's game changer toggle. And then you see me on my phone there. I'm pulling up an app called Gaggle. And I've talked about it before on this channel. So what I'm trying to do, a friend of mine is up too. But he's all the way across town. So I'm not going over there with what I just heard and with the bumpy air. I want to kind of stick close to that airfield in case I have a problem. So normally I use my municipal airport to land and take off, but it's closed right now. They're redoing the runway, so the airport is closed. They've torn up all the concrete. It looks like they've got some dirt laid out. The way I'm going, it's downwind, and we don't like to land downwind. So I'm just going to kind of stick around this area where I'm really close to my grass strip. You see the Insta camera right there on my swing arm? So that's the Insta X4. It's actually got a better picture, but I like this angle better. So instead of showing you guys the angle from the arm, I put the X3 on my helmet, and again, it was a much better angle. That beautiful BGD wing up there. And again, you see the green thing on the back. That's my game changer toggle from Trevor Steele. That's how I steer. So pulling that one on the right deforms the back of the wing, and it slows the right side of the wing down. So I will turn to the right. you see I got my gloves on at some point while I was running my mouth. My goal was I was going to go up to 4,000 feet. So that was my goal, but the longer I stayed up, the colder it got, of course, because I was going up more and more. But I was hoping it was going to smooth out. The app that I used was saying, hey, between 6 and 7, it's going to be bumpy, but it's going to smooth out. Well, it never really smoothed out. It just kept bouncing me around. I like driving over a bumpy road is what it feels like. Driving down a typical South Carolina road. Every now and then you hit a pothole. Kind of what it feels like. Not sure what I said there. I did record my audio with the Tascam, but I didn't talk very much. I only made a few comments on the Tascam audio. Now, according to Trevor, I keep grabbing the toggles the wrong way. I'm reaching around from the outside and pulling them down. And that would have a bad effect if I had tip steering, but I don't have tip steering. My wing isn't that fancy. Every now and then you'll hear a scratching sound or a rough sound. And I'm not sure, it didn't come from the motor. It would come from the actual microphone of the Insta360. And I'm not sure if when I turn my head, maybe I bump the risers with the camera, or if it's just the way the wind blows around that microphone. Now I realize, hey, I'm kind of high, and I'm kind of cold, and it's not settling down. So let's get back towards the airfield. On the sectional chart, it's called the Flying W.
Little fucking runway.
It's a nice little runway. It's all turf. Easy on the feet. It's just hard to see from the air. Also, unfortunately, the approach that I'm making, I've got to go over this neighborhood.
All the way up. You don't want to stall it.
You might see my phone fall off here in a minute. This was kind of funny. I think I do at least one or maybe two loops to lose some altitude. Horizontal loops, not vertical loops. I'm not Tucker Gott. So I'll just do a couple of 360 turns. And at some point my phone falls off my leg. So and I even say at one point, I'm not worried about the phone, I just want to land.
Power lines right there. Yeah, I got a hell of a glide ratio.
Yeah, even with the motor idling, I'm not coming down nearly as fast as I thought I would. So I'm way too high at this point. I figured I could kind of just dump in from here, but I'm way too high. At some point when I'm making one of these turns, it slips off my leg, and I'm not worried about it because it's got its little cord. And if the cord came loose, well, there's nothing I can do about it. It would just be down in the trees somewhere. Somebody get a free iPhone. But I gave the engine a little gas there because I don't want it to quit. If you idle a two-stroke for too long, they can tend to quit. So just like if you've ever used a chainsaw and you've been running it for a bit and you put it down on the ground and it's idling and then all of a sudden it just stops. Well, they can do that. They call it loading up. So I don't want to let it load up and then just quit when I need it. So every now and then I'll give the throttle a little boost.
Where the phone went. Watch them damn power lines.
And I'm telling myself, watch the power lines. Thankfully, at the end of the runway, right at the road, the power lines actually dip under the road.
I'm long.
At this point, I realize, whoa, I'm still too high, even after the 2 360s I did. I'm still coming in too high, so I'll be long. In other words, much farther down the runway than I intended. The ideal spot would be right there next to the car. I love this landing. Y'all, I was so happy with it. Came in over that shop, did a real quick, not really a swoop, but a real quick 180-degree turn. Lined back up on the runway. The speedometer there says I'm already not moving. The data from the watch doesn't always sync exactly with the data on the film, so it's about 15 seconds early. Okay, here we go. Again, beautiful picture. You can see exactly what I'm doing. Well, thanks for flying with Taco. I appreciate everybody that's been following my channel. I'm up to 480 people now, or subscribers, so I appreciate all of y'all. And I'm going to give you some engine maintenance stuff again when I check my belt this weekend. Don't go splat.